Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Faith Reframed. My name is Jesse. We're here we try to save your faith rather than have you lose it. I am a born-again believer. I deconstructed all the way to the point of atheism, and by the grace of God, I returned back to the faith. So today we're going to be continuing our Shawn Bolz saga. We have some interesting stuff that kind of came up. I was trying to squeeze in one more video before the work week started, and I was scrolling through X, because I have a Twitter, or X or Twitter now, because apparently that's where you get a lot of good information, ironically. But one of our old articles that we looked at from Will Matthews mentioned a friend of his named Matthew Hartkey. So I decided to look him up and came across he actually just posted some old stuff about Shawn Bolz and some stuff he went through, and some old articles, some old clips, some old times where he prophesied. So we're going to be breaking those down, and I actually did some super sleuthing on the internet, and I actually found the old video he was referencing. So we're just going to do some review of that, break down some of the stuff he mentioned, take note of some of the shenanigans, and then yeah, give our thoughts. All right, thanks guys. See you soon. All right, so let's take a look at some of these clips here. I'm going to pull up X, and we're going to take a look at it and see what we find on here. So let's zoom in here and get a good view of it. So as you can see, this is the guy, Matthew Hartkey. Will Matthews mentioned on his original post that he was the one who originally pulled this stuff up. So Matthew Hartkey actually went and pulled up his old Facebook posts, which is kind of crazy. And he found them and he screenshot them. Now he did say that a lot of these links are dead. He said I should have provided screenshots with details, blurred to preserve their anonymity. Live and learn. That's all right. But I actually was able to pull up some of these clips, or some of these links. The one being the actual original video of Azusa Now. And what Matthew Hartkey does in this, he breaks down what he found. This is in 2017, I think it was. So it's breaking down everything he found during that time and some of the correlations he was able to make. And then we also have some other things that he found back. Those kind of some links to some older stuff that we're going to be going through as well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So first off, let's take a look at this. He says this is in 2017. So I've known Shawn Bolz Perfect Ministry for years, since he's in similar circles as I used to be, but I've never actually seen him do his thing until I started to see people posting about his ministry time at Azusa Now last year and how amazing it was. So I watched the whole video and found every person he called out on Facebook by searching their name plus hashtag Azusa Now. So just so you understand what's going on, he watched it, he went on Facebook, searched the name of the people plus the hashtag Azusa Now. Some even checked into the location on the Facebook event. I'm no David Hume, but after a few minutes of investigation, this all started to look extremely suspicious to me. I found every single detail about the people Bolz called out, birthdays, anniversaries, past addresses, etc., by looking at their Facebook profiles, personal sites linked on their profiles, on public records, every single detail. All right, so now what we're going to be doing is I pulled up some of these. So first one, he called out one guy named Nelson, www.facebook.com, Logos Nelson, and gave him a word about Logos being turned into a Rhema. Note the intro on his Facebook profile, founder at Logos High School Ministry. He even check his URL at Logos in it. Now, I will say, I actually did try to put in these URLs because it's just a screenshot. So I tried typing them in. The links are dead, unfortunately, or they're blocked. But I do have the video pulled up, so let's get to that. All right, we got the first one pulled up here. Let's take a listen to it. So make sure my volume's good. All right, here we go.
Is there a Nelson who has a birthday October 28th, and you're from Philly? I heard a yeah. Where's he at? Nelson, this is your birthday, October 28th. You're right up front, and you're from Philly. And you're a revivalist to the nth degree. This is what you've been pursuing as your primary passion. And God knows your birthday because he planned you, just like I said, for millions of years. I'm telling you, the Lord is going to use you like a nail against the enemy. Like he's going to drive you in like a stake into the ground. And there's something about Logos, but it's time for Ramos. So
all right. So right here, Logos. He said you can see it right there in the URL. Logos Nelson being turned to Rhema. He's the founder at Logos High School Ministry. Heck, even his URL has logos in it.
There's something about the logo. Is there a logo? Something? That's a ministry you did as a high schooler who got saved. And there's something about bringing the Rhema to the Logos now. It's the both. To have the Rhemos and Logos. There's a move of the Holy Spirit. I feel like some of your heroes are here on the stage. And it takes a hero to know a hero.
All right. So that's the first of many, friends. First of many. All right. Next one we have here. He called out one girl named Danielle and said she had a grandma named Suzanne. He said her grandma was a praying woman, that he got something about her in bowling, and that her prayers would be answered. Turns out Danielle had checked into the event the day before, and her grandma, Suzanne Bowling, who is listed as her grandma on her profile, commented on her post and prayed for the Holy Spirit to show up. And so he has the link here. Again, I checked all these links. I actually hand typed the entire link because I was curious, but it's blocked or busted. But let's go ahead and pull up that clip. All right, here's this one about our girl Danielle.
Email me or find me. Is there a Danielle or Daniela from Greenville with a December 5th birthday? Someone's screaming. Daniela from Greenville, are you up there somewhere? I'm hearing screaming. Wave, everybody. Oh, is that you? There's a lot. Okay, there's a couple of you. There's people screaming over there too. What's going on? Okay, we're trying to. I told you this is harder in a big crowd, but it's a signpost to you. Is there a Suzanne who's a grandmother? Does that make sense to Danielle? Ah, there you are.
So now they just found the right Danielle.
There you are. You're praying grandmother's answers are going to happen.
There's
Danielle,
Chris Valentin.
There's something about December 5th must be your birthday.
Todd White.
And there's a level of fulfillment that Suzanne's going to see in her other grandkids. And she won't just be bowling. Does that make sense? Is there something about bowling? I'm confused as to where I'm talking. Yes, that's. Oh, I should look at the monitor the whole time. Is that, does she bowl? There we go. Her last name is Bowling. She just said I just read her lips. That's amazing. So God is honoring praying grandmothers at this event because we are a fulfillment of a generation of prayer, and you're going to fulfill the musical calling. You're going to fulfill the calling of leadership. You're going to fulfill, there's almost like a
All right, so he went off on that. And again, when we look at this, you can see that her grandma commented on the profile post, prayed for Holy Spirit to show up. It's just rich. Okay, I had trouble finding this one. I don't know if it was the right clip or not, but I did find this one. So he also gave this couple Hebrews, maybe it was the same couple. This one's interesting. All right, so in this one, he calls out Hebrews 7-9 and said maybe 11:8 was their anniversary, but turned out their anniversary was 11:7. He says that was interesting because neither that guy nor his wife had their anniversary listed on their Facebook profiles, unlike the other people whose anniversaries Bolz called out accurate. Yet, by scrolling down briefly on his timeline, I saw that he was only recently married, and there were people congratulating them on November 7th, 8th, and 10th. So then he used Hebrews 11:7-9, which I think was just, hats off for being clever. Now, of course, all this is allegedly, but we can say, I think we could say with confidence on this stuff, just mainly because this is all screenshots. The crazy thing is these screenshots from 2017. This is almost 10 years ago. He got these screenshots and he was able to dig them up. It's a bummer the links don't work. We don't want to dox anyone, obviously, but it would have been cool to see some of the stuff actually there. So let's take a look at this clip. All right, here's the next one.
You're here at Montel. Where's Ginger? Is Ginger around? Oh, you were at Chris and Savannah's. He's like, we're having a moment. We're just having a moment. Montel, I don't remember that, but I love you, and I hope this makes sense. I saw Hebrews 11:7-9. It's about the people of great faith. And then I saw maybe a November 8th anniversary. Is there like something about November 8th?
So he used the Hebrews 11:7-9 And then he's calling for an anniversary specific date, but he's not sure on the date because the 7, 8, 9 dates on the Facebook page were congratulating throughout these dates.
It's the 7th. Well, the good thing is I said Hebrews 11, 7 through 9, so it was in that range.
So he gets credit.
We're almost there. This is good. But I feel like God's blessing your marriage. I feel like he says you chose right. And right when I'm
So now we're in the stage of blessing marriages again. So this is, I think there's an important thing to note here is that we're seeing marriages get blessed, and this trends with the other stuff that we know he's been doing previously. So I did another one of those. All right, there's a couple other ones. I'm just going to read through the ones. After watching that video, I started seeing another one in my news feed. Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. In this video, Bolz claims he heard God say polka duck, and then elaborates that is a clothing company on Etsy, and that the husband of the woman who owns the company is salt of the earth, and he's been mining for gold, but you got salt. Now, I did look up this YouTube page. It did not work. No link there. I was trying to pull that one up. Actually, I'm going to pause this. Let me try one more time. Yeah, I just tried again. It doesn't work. I was hoping to get that link. So that one he tried mining for gold. Well, lo and behold, I found on Facebook post from the previous day where the CEO and founder at Polka Duck Designs checked into the conference with her husband, the proprietor at Salt Mine Industries. And he links to a photo. Again, that link didn't work. Again, all of the info given is right on their Facebook profiles. I've watched several other videos since then, all with the same result. Of course, correlation does not equal causation, but the probability of causation rises with the amount of correlation. And in this case, in all of the recordings I've watched from Bolz so far, about 15 different prophecies between 2 to 6 words of knowledge per prophecy, the amount of correlation has been 100%. Again, I'm not questioning the supernatural here. I'm not even questioning whether Shawn has a gift. But if these words of knowledge are really from God, why do they consist entirely of surface level details on people's public online profiles? Why is God so pedestrian? Good question. I can easily imagine that when you start doing this sort of thing, building a traveling ministry draws thousands with expectation that the heavens will open every time. There could be a huge internal pressure to keep it at a certain level. And there could even be temptation to justify looking stuff up online as supplementing or kickstarting God's voice. The demand of full-time ministry and the expectations of charismatic culture together create a pressure to maintain an unrealistic level of showmanship. But all the same, Bolz is giving people very specific directional words that will set the course of their lives for years to come. And I think he needs to be held accountable if he's not being forthright about his sources. Dang, Matt. So again, I think this read 2017 up here. Yeah, May 11th, 2017. I think Matt's a prophet. I mean, this is nuts. He nailed it, right? He nailed it. And I believe Matt's an atheist now, just by looking at his profile, Matt. Wherever you believe. Thanks for pulling this up. We appreciate it. All right, so then there's more to the thread. So here's another example. This one is quite explicit. The original video was privated on YouTube, but fortunately, I screen recorded it beforehand. Shawn Bolz is one of the most, this is now 2021. Shawn Bolz is one of the most influential prophets in the world today. He predicted the pandemic would end last spring and Trump would win a second term. Here's a clip that shows him clearly gain his word of knowledge for someone's Facebook profile. His following seems unfazed.
Like, who's Bubba? This your Bubba?
So he calls out the name Bubba.
Is that your nickname, your family nickname? That's so cute. That's so cute. So, Bubba, what is your last name again? Saint Pierre. That's so cute. That's so funny. Well, let me pray over you guys, because I feel like that obviously that then affects you. That big step of faith is the two of you guys. And I just pray that God would give you a spirit of wisdom and revelation so you could really know him in this season better. God, that you are going to answer their prayers, that you're going to answer their prayers in so many ways that it's going to be
so we're having influence again on people.
Wow, you guys are, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of the most happy seasons of your life. And you deserve it, because you've had some hard seasons, and you deserve a happy, happy season. So bless you guys.
All right. Note, Bolz called out someone named Bubba. And when a man in the audience responds, Bolz asks him, is that your nickname? Your family nickname? And the man responds, it's my Facebook name. So there we go again. He says the evidence is pretty overwhelming. Here's another one here. So again, it was a Facebook profile nickname. All right, the evidence is pretty overwhelming here, in my opinion, at least as far as Shawn Bolz is concerned. Here's another one from UK. And I actually had someone email me about this one. And whoever you are, I forget your name, but thank you for emailing me this. Your screenshot just had some extra information on there, so I didn't want to share this. So another meeting, Shawn gets a picture in which he sees his friend Kelly standing on the road. From this, he quickly deduces that there is someone present with the name Kelly Rhoades. This, of course, is a rather odd inference, until we realize that by beginning with the name of the person, Shawn may well be working backwards here, as he seems to so often in the habit of doing. Indeed, there is a Kelly Rhoades present. Shawn tells her that her mother's name is Doris, and that her birthday is January 27th. Details available on Doris's Facebook page, which is linked to Kelly's Facebook profile. He then tells her that he saw Psalm 105 over her family and asked if 105 slaughterhouse means anything to her. It doesn't. So Shawn quickly moves on. This seemingly innocent mistake proves to be highly illuminating. By doing a quick search on one of them, several online directories such as checkthem.org or been verified, one can discover that Kelly's mother, Doris Rhoades, lives in Oxford, Pennsylvania. A different Doris Rhoades lives in another town in that state, and that address has a 105 slaughterhouse. Shawn has confused two completely different people. These indeed are the only two Doris Rhoades that crop up on these directories living in Pennsylvania. It's a fatal mistake because it reveals beyond a reasonable doubt that Shawn did not receive his word from the Holy Spirit, nor was it even the random musings of his mind. Rather, it is apparent that he engaged in an online search for Doris Rhoades, where he found the unusual street address. Is there any other reasonable explanation? This single incident confirms beyond reasonable doubt what I and many other Bolz skeptics have strongly suspected for years. Shawn Bolz uses the internet to obtain the information for his words of knowledge. Man, where you been, Matt? Where you been? All right, there's some more stuff here, I believe. Let's see here. Here's one where Shawn himself acknowledges he got what the name he got is a social media username. Ready?
It's BABSELRICK, Babsel Rick. Yes?
Actually, it's Deborah Ellerick, but my husband calls me Babs, so I
Babs
Ellerick.
Babs, that's awesome. And obviously I put connection to England, and you sound like you're from England.
Yes, I'm from England. Yeah.
That makes sense. I have to read this. I'm so sorry for being stuck on my notes for a sec, because I'm trying to figure out. I have two mixed together here, and I'm trying to figure this out.
That's interesting. So this one was a username, hidden in plain sight. Seems like Bolz relies most entirely on his appearance of sincerity and the social capital he's built in the circles. It's quite an incident of how susceptible the charismatic world is. All right. That's another one we did. All right. This is, for me, this was the kicker. And Matt, I thought this was amazing that you found this, or I don't know where you got this, but so it looks like this is screenshots from Shawn's Facebook or Twitter. I'm not sure. So it's interesting that Shawn himself explicitly compares the prophetic to smartphones. You can't make this stuff up. He compares the prophetic to smartphones, saying that it accelerates relationship and creates connection with people in the same way that recent communication technology does. He says, is he telling him on himself? So we'll read this right here. So Shawn Bolz, Shawn Bolz is nothing like TV preachers of the old Pentecostal charismatic traditions. Is this an interview? Yeah, it looks like it is. He doesn't make a big show of things like Benny Hinn or Peter Popoff. Peter Popoff obviously was the one that had the in-ear piece. He dresses casually, sports a comfortably trimmed beard, and whenever he gives one of his mind-blowingly accurate words of knowledge, calling out a personal detail like birthdays, anniversaries, names of relatives, he usually does so with the aid of his smartphone or tablet. I use my cell phone or a notepad to write down some of the words I get in advance, says Bolz, because I pray into meetings and ask God for an encounter to people. Skeptics might find this open reliance on technology suspicious, but to a new generation of believers raised on supernaturally natural ethos of Californian charismatics like John Wimber and Bill Johnson, it's endearingly down-to-earth, incarnational even, as Bolz himself explains in his book, Translating God. Just as recent technology has created the connection for anyone to talk to any one of his friends and even make new ones, so it is with the gifts. The prophetic is meant to be like this. It is the technology or smart device to our spiritual love. It is a tool that accelerates relationship and creates connection with the people, cities, countries, industries, and the world. Through it, we see a very real glimpse of God's heart to get to treat people exactly the way God intended them to be treated from the beginning. So there's this quote. Looks like it's an interview. All right. It goes on. Even more interestingly, Shawn admits that his prophetic gift grew exponentially in 2013. Around the same time, smartphones and social media was becoming ubiquitous, which is true. I remember 2008, I'm going to date myself. I got my first Facebook profile page, but you used to get, believe it or not, Facebook updates through text messages. You can get texts of what people were doing, and you could actually post to your wall via text. And it wasn't until smartphones, iPhones, and, kind of limping along behind Androids were getting the Facebook app. Before it was all through text and strictly websites. So around 2013, he's right. It was a bit ubiquitous. So check this out. Bolz recently describes his own journey of growing in the prophetic article, in an article for the Elijah List, an online hub for prophetic voices in the charismatic world. Many who have followed Bolz's ministry for years can't help but observe that this gifting has grown exponentially in recent years. But in this article, Bolz speaks out of a powerful upgrade God gave him in 2013, an upgrade specifically related to words of knowledge. I have received many upgrades to my prophetic ability to hear and translate God to the world around me. In 2013, I received one of these upgrades, and with it, God showed me the power of the word of knowledge. He showed me that he wanted to use his intimate knowledge of people to show them how he loves them, how he planned for them to be born, and how he loves their marriages, and how proud of their education and careers he is, and to cause people to fall in love with him. In other words, I started to get birth dates and anniversary dates of strangers, grounding them in the knowledge that God knows them and cares about what they care about. I began to hear people's schools' alma maters. If you don't know, Facebook was founded on colleges, and what colleges you went to is only a network within colleges. It's funny. And I know what careers they were in. I had visions of significant moments in their lives when something good happened, where God had been present, and that brought them into a connection or deeper connection with the God who loves them and is with them. All right, bottom line. Shawn, you need help, just as it was for the Casey Prophets. Yeah, all that. One last comment. Chris Faustin's non-response. Yes, it's cowardly and dysfunctional. Yep. Agree. And there's me. Hey, Matt. Looking for some of this stuff. So, I found that these... I mean, the fact that Mr. Matt Hartkey, Matt, you're killing it. You had this stuff figured out in 2017, which is crazy. And you did all the legwork in 2017, and you even had the receipts for it. Like we said, most of this it's not new news. I mean, obviously with everything coming out. But I did find it interesting that we have people going as far back as 2017 that were skeptical of this, and trying to hold him accountable. And then going back to, obviously, to wrap it all up, Bethel has not come out publicly yet. Now, Chris did have a message today, I believe he spoke, that I might be doing a reaction video on. I have to hear it. I'm not sure what he actually talked about. I'd be interested to hear it. But all in all, I just thought this was interesting. And thank you, Matt. Appreciate it, Matt. This is really cool of you to put this together, and very helpful for us. So, all right, guys, hope you found this helpful. Like we said, this is Faith Reframed, where we try to help you save your faith or reframe your faith rather than lose it. I get that catchphrase down. And thanks for tuning in. We have another episode of the podcast dropping later this week. I have some more recordings coming on. Next week, this next podcast, we're going to be interviewing a guy named Nate Peters, who has a podcast called I Tried to Be Straight. Really looking forward to dropping that interview, and take care.